Yeah. She is the fire, she is desire, believe when I say that's Sonia and Mandy.
WTF! WTF!
Hello, how are you? I am Ross Twiddell from Cultaholic.com, your sexual wank fezant, and welcome to these WTF moments from last night's episode of SmackDown Live, an episode that I thought was bloody good, you know? Maybe not in terms of the wrestling action on show, although the New Day and FTRKO, that's how it goes, isn't it? They had a fantastic six-man tag match to kick open the show, I thought. But if you didn't see last night's SmackDown Live, but read about last night's SmackDown Live, I guarantee you would have been thinking, oh, I should have watched last night's SmackDown Live. It was really bloody newsworthy. Lots of things happened. Let's talk about the things.
Yep, I wrong. Yep, I wrong.
Byron Saxton, you massive silly numpty. Here is the Cambridge Tory definition of the word perpetrator. Someone who has committed a crime or a violent or harmful act. But for some reason, here is how you opened last night's SmackDown Live when you said, now the perpetrator behind the Roman Reigns attacks Bryan will now return tonight to SmackDown Live. Why are you calling Daniel Bryan the man behind these attacks when nothing we've seen on the air over the last few weeks on SmackDown Live has suggested he was the man to do it? Now I'm sure that you at home, just like me, stood here in this lovely brick wall, are expecting this whodunit thing to end with it being revealed that Bryan was actually the man behind the attacks before Bryan is locked inside Hell in a Cell with the big dog, the Byron Saxton. That there on last night's SmackDown Live, you spunked your load too early. You want Poirot or Kojak, Byron? You're a man who chats up women by offering them apple pies made by your mum, and I quote, that will make your toes curl. Now, of course, it's important to note right now that when talking about that later in the show, Byron did get it the right way round, but he didn't at the start, so it was a bad way to start. And next up we have Tom Phillips doing what he does best, of course, harking back to the days of those Instagram DMs when he faced fornicates the poo out of a line on commentary on a WWE show. I know you're aroused right now. But anyway, Tom claimed that both Sasha Banks and Charlotte Flair will be looking to bounce back from their title opportunities at Clash of Champions on Sunday. Now, I fully understand what Tom was saying in relation to Charlotte Flair, because of course Bayley quite literally stole one, and she ran away in what has to be one of my favourite moments in recent WWE history. But as for Banks, she scored a DQ win on Sunday, so if the winner's purse was a thing in wrestling, she would have got that without having to win the match. And on Raw, she scored herself a big rematch inside Hell in a Cell with a woman she wants to batter right in the chin. Now, I know she didn't get the championship on Sunday at Clash of Champions, but rather than saying she bounced back, Tom Phillips, I would compare Sasha Banks to a boomerang, because it's all came back round, but she hasn't had to hit the bottom for it to do so like a bouncy ball would. Ooh. And then Brock Lesnar appeared, which isn't the WTF moment I'm going to speak about now, even though it is still a pretty big WTF moment. Brock Lesnar working Tuesdays, eh? But a bearded Brock Lesnar appeared, and because of that, Kofi Kingston might as well just hand that beardy bastard his WWE Championship belt. We all know that even though he got knocked out while having the beard, a bearded Brock Lesnar is the worst and most terrifying version of Brock Lesnar. And what's even worse for Kofi Kingston to ponder is the fact that Brock Lesnar still has 16 full days between that picture there and the championship match, which takes place on the first episode of Friday Night SmackDown on Fox. Imagine the density, the girth, the bushiness of that facial fungus there, Kofi Kingston, in over 2 weeks' time. You haven't got a chance in hell, pal. And speaking of that championship match, which goes down on October the 4th, on SmackDown's debut on Fox, it will be Brock Lesnar's first televised match, either on Raw or SmackDown, the weekly TV shows. The first one he's had in 15 long years. The last one he had took place on March the 2nd, 2004 against Bob Holly, who at the time was sort of a ever contender for Brock Lesnar's WWE Championship, which means that after Brock Lesnar and the Beard defeats Kofi Kingston, surely Bob Holly will be in line to be the number one contender because of what happened 15 long years ago. It's written in the skies. It's gonna happen.
Made a grave mistake, Corey.
Here's a direct quote from Corey Graves, who was speaking about that title match that's coming up on October the 4th, when he said, "What good is the power of positivity when you're stuck in an unwinnable situation?" Well, I'm here to tell you, Corey Graves, that Brock Lesnar has lost 3 of his last 8 WWE matches. And what's more, Corey Graves, is the fact that 2 of those defeats came against the same man who is much smaller and much weaker than Brock Lesnar, and who also claimed that wrestling should be based in reality. Women shouldn't beat me up. Kofi's got this, man, Corey. If the beard wasn't there. But the beard's there, Kofi, so don't even bother trying. Now, I fully understand that we're supposed to think and see Erick Rowan as this big, giant, fee-fi-fo-fum. I want to kill Roman Reigns because I'm jealous of his luxurious, greasy mane. But just look at where Erick Rowan's bludgeon brother area is in comparison to Michael Cole's torso. Rowan's crotch is the same height as... Just imagine if Michael Cole had a lovely pair of udders and the teats were just about here. I could have said diaphragm there, but I've gone for something childish because that's the way I do things here. But that shot there means one of 2 things is happening here. Either Erick Rowan is packing more junk inside of his trunk than we've ever seen before, or WWE are now doing the old topspiracy, making interviewer look smaller than they actually are while they're sitting down now. It's not needed, man. It's unnecessary. Tom Phillips, do you really wish The Undertaker finished the job on Sami Zayn inside Madison Square Garden last week? You wish The Undertaker killed Sami Zayn, then embalmed Sami Zayn, then cremated Sami Zayn, then scattered Sami Zayn's ashes somewhere? I don't know how the process of death works. I'm just making it up the top of my head. Anyway, Tom, you knob, what a horrible thing to say about a lovely man who does a lot of good things for charitable causes. You should be ashamed of yourself. So Kevin Owens, who was of course fired on last week's SmackDown Live, rocked up to this week's SmackDown Live, gave the company who fired him his own hard-earned money, paid for a ticket, sat in the crowd. It was... Ooh. And he even had his own personal security, for Christ's sake, even after that $100,000 fine. How is this relatable everyman who was supposed to be easily relatable for us poor peasants? How is he affording that after that fine? After the fine. But anyway, we have Colonel McSweaty Bollocks there. He's watching Kevin Owens take his seat inside the arena like every single normal human being watches television in every single walk of life. But then John Cone walks in, and John Cone, I love you now. He waltzes into Shane's office. He says, "How sweaty bollocks, someone's here to see you." And also, even though it's on this massive television, Kevin Owens is here. I don't know if you've noticed yet. Yes, even Shane McMahon's colleagues must recognise the fact that Shane McMahon is blinded by the sweat when his eyebrows, the cannot stands no more. Also the delusion. He's blinded by that as well. But more about this Kevin Owens being in the crowd angle, being filmed while in the crowd angle, while he shouldn't be there angle, after he was fired on last week's SmackDown Live angle. Remember when that little dickhead Enzo Amore did the same, but for realsies? What happened to him? Of course you remember, because you at home are a fully functioning human being with a human brain that works perfectly and doesn't forget things that happen 5 minutes after they do so, like WWE will have you believe by the way they tell their stories. But if you don't remember, Enzo Amore was picked up out of his high chair and he was carried out of the arena. But Kevin Owens is just filmed. Takes you out the moment, doesn't it?
Made a grave mistake, Corey.
Get that camera off him. Corey Graves says that's only doing one thing. It's raising his independent value. Now, even though Vince McMahon would have been sat there chuckling to himself at home, or wherever he was during last night's SmackDown Live, that comment, Corey, made you look like a massive numpty. I'm sure that Chris Jericho, who has said numerous times that the contract he's getting from AEW is the biggest he's ever had, I'm sure he agrees with that sentiment. I'm sure John Moxley, with his $1 million deal from AEW, presumably, I'm a hack, I can make things up, I'm sure he's agreeing with you there as well. Now, I know you're a heel commentator, and you should probably be ignorant to the things you want to be ignorant to, but this just made you Shoot ignorant. Is that a thing I've just really said? I know what I mean in my mind. I hope you do too. So this Kevin Owens thing was ticking along fine, apart from the filming of the crowd. When you remember the Enzo Amore situation, Kevin Owens came back. He served Shane McMahon. He is suing Shane McMahon for $25 million for wrongful dismissal because Kevin Owens, in that match with Chad Gable last week, did his job fine. He tried to screw the match in Shane's favour, and then when Shane tapped out, what more could he do? Shane had no grounds to fire the bloke. So Kevin will get the $25 million if he wins this case, but oh no, sweaty bollocks, look down at the bottom of the paper. There's one more clause. If Kevin Owens wins, he'll not only get the money, but he also get to stand in the middle of the ring on SmackDown Live and say, "You're fired, Shane McMahon." Now I know that none of this is plausible. It's WWE, it's professional wrestling, it's silly bollocks, and that's why we love it. WWE, of course, is the company who had a custody of Dominic ladder match thing back in 2005, because that's how you settle things like that, not in a courtroom, in a ring with a ladder. But I was sat there watching the show and I don't know the law, I don't know the ins and outs, I don't know how it works, I don't even watch courtroom dramas. But I was sat there thinking, can Kevin Owens actually do that? He can't do that, can he? He can't do that. Corey Graves said the same thing. It just seemed a bit too silly for me. And now it's time for this.
Wankety wank, wankety wank. Wankety wank, wankety wank. Wankety wank, wankety wank, wankety wank.
Welcome back to Wankety Wank, the section of WTF Moments where you, a sexual wank pheasant, tweets me with a moment that I might have missed, and I give you all the credit because we're all a wholesome group of people here and we all get along just fine. Thanks to Kayla Kelly though for pointing out that during an ad break on the USA Network there was an advert for AEW on TNT. Pew pew! The bloody wars. I don't know about you, but after that advert last night, I cannot wait to see the New Day on their little bicycle ice cream truck thing, driving towards the arena where AEW's TNT debut is, hoying pancakes at the door saying, "Let us in." I cannot wait. Charles Robinson turning on the Flairs is a day I never thought I'd see, but after seeing that last night, it's a day that finally arrived. He saw that, and if he says he didn't, he's a massive liar. So there, Charles. Now, as we all know, WWE are using the same piss and scepter I used in a previous life, and believe me, that thing was as cheap and as plasticky as insert celebrity's name here. But last night's SmackDown Live showed us that not only have they skipped on the old budget for the scepter, but they've also skipped on the budget for the crown. Big baldy bastard Baron Corbin took the crown off his big baldy bastard head and the crown was bent. Or maybe, just maybe, big baldy bastard Baron Corbin's skull can melt gold. In fact, let's do an experiment right now, boys and girls. Can this big baldy bastard Baron Corbin like he'd melt this real 24-karat gold? No, it can't. Now, as we saw during last night's SmackDown Live, my lovely pal Otis had some new ring attire, to which Tom Phillips said that when you've got a physique like that, you've got to show it off. Well then. So it appears that AC/DC's Are You Ready is the brand new theme for the brand new SmackDown Live on Fox, as it was heard playing while that match graphic there was on the screen. And while I'm not complaining, it's a kick-ass tune. But you didn't see it coming, did you? So therefore it's got to be a WTF moment, but a good one. So it would now appear that that despicable slice of sugar, honey, ice and tea, the first letters at least, is now a fully bona fide babyface. He doesn't eat meat, he wants to save the planet, and now we've got to cheer the bloke. He's saying to Erick Rowan, there's nothing in this world worse than you ending our friendship. There's nothing worse than you telling pork pies to me, and we're supposed to support him. Well, he's like, come on then, put him up then, you big bastard. Oh. Of course, that point there was seen through the beef-tinted lenses of one Vince McMahon, who presumably, judged by the way that character by Daniel Bryan was booked over the last few months, wants to see the world burn in a bowl of fire and meat and petrol and unsustainable things. I don't care what you say, a million times Luke Harper could try to do what he did on last night's SmackDown Live, and a million times he will fail. Because last night on SmackDown Live, he hoyed a TV monitor over the ring to the far side ropes, and it bounced off the middle rope. He'll never do that again, therefore it's got to be in this video series, because it's a bit weird, isn't it? He did well not to celebrate, didn't he, Luke? If I was him, and if this was 2015, I would have been doing the old yay routine. Those were the days. I missed that call, Luke. Bring it back, will you? And that's it for the WTF moments from a good episode of SmackDown Live, I thought. Did that disappear out of the shot there?
No, he was still in the shot.
Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments below. You can follow us on Twitter at Cultaholic. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. And if you enjoy what we do here at Cultaholic, you can pledge to our Patreon page, patreon.com/Cultaholic. Hit subscribe and join us.